Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Today the topic we are going to discuss it's the Count's Revenge. It's by J.H. Walsh, right? And it's an abridged, a shorter version of the Count of Monte Cristo. The Count of Monte Cristo. It's a big story. It's a novel, but the Count's Revenge is an abridged or a concise or a compressed version of the Count of Monte Cristo, written as the Count's Revenge, and it is written by J.H. Walsh. The Count of Monte Cristo, it's been written by Alexander Dumas. Okay, right? Acha. Right. Now when you come to the characters in order of speaking, you remember that whenever we are going to discuss a play or a novel, we have to take some things into consideration. They are characterization are the different particular characters who are playing important and pivotal, significant or insignificant roles in the play or a novel, right? So characterization are the characters who are playing different roles. Then we have plot is the storyline, plot is the main story. Then we have themes are the central, not exactly the central ideas, but themes are the ideas that are being discussed or that are being conveyed in the particular story. Characterization, plot, themes, and setting is the time and place, the particular time and place where the play is being conducted, where the play is being acted, or where the play is taking place, right? So when you are discussing the characters of the Count's Revenge, they are Albert is a young French nobleman, right? Albert is the son of the Countess and Count of Morcerf. किसका बेटा है? Countess of Morcerf and Count of Morcerf का, ठीक है? And Countess of Morcerf, formerly called Mercedes, means mother of Albert. She is the mother of Albert, and her previous name was the name with which she was called in the past. It was Mercedes. And the Count of Morcerf, he was previously called Ferdinand Mondigo. What he was called? He was called Ferdinand Mondigo. So the Count of Morcerf and Countess of Morcerf are the parents of Albert, this young man. And the setting of the play, it's in Paris. Paris is in France, right? The Count of Monte Cristo is the third character, and what particular role he is going to play in the course of the play, we are going to discuss it later. Beauchamp is the editor of a Paris newspaper and a friend of Albert. Countess of Morcerf, Count of Morcerf, Count of Monte Cristo, Albert, Beauchamp. Beauchamp is the friend of Albert. Count of Morcerf and Countess of Morcerf are the parents of Albert. Count of Monte Cristo is also a friend of Albert. Morel is a friend of the Count of Monte Cristo. Bertuccio, a Corsican steward of Monte Cristo, right? So Morel and Bertuccio both are the persons employed at the house of Count of Monte Cristo, ठीक है? Okay, now steward, I have penned down the meanings of the important words over here. Steward is a person who helps to organize a large public event. आपने अक्सर देखा होगा, you must have heard and you must have seen the crew, the amla, that is in when you are going through a flight, when you are going in a plane. So the ladies are called air hostesses and the male person is called a steward. So he is not just to organize a large public event, rather he is also performing other chores, and he is also going to help you in other things, right? And a person employed to manage Corsican, a person employed to manage another person's property affairs, right? Acha. Now come to Act 1, Scene 1. Whenever we are having a play, it is always performed in acts, and in act can be further distinguished and further divided into scenes. Scene 1, Scene 2, Scene 3. Scene 1. What is the setting of Scene 1? A luxuriously furnished apartment in the house of Count of Morcerf in the Rue de Helder, Paris. The Countess of Morcerf is seated. Her son Albert is pacing to and fro in distraction, right? So the Countess of Morcerf is, although she is seated, but she is also frustrated, as she is having a perturbable, or she is having a frustrating, or she is having a depressive mode or attitude, and Albert is really in a kind of in a state of anxiety. वो distracted है, disoriented है, राइट। और ये सेटिंग कहाँ की है? रियो डी हेल्डर पेरिस की। कहाँ की? रियो डी हेल्डर पेरिस, राइट। पेरिस में कौन सी जगह है? रियो डी हेल्डर। Albert, it comes to this, mother, mark my words carefully. It comes to this that we are publicly disgraced and we are ruined. My father is ruined and disgraced. Disgraced, Albert? Are you sure? So why he has been bemired? He has been insulted. He has been disgraced, disregarded, ridiculed. He is being made fun of in the public. Why? Are you quite sure that your father is being treated in this way in the society now? It is quite certain, it is true beyond all doubt. The case came up for inquiry this evening in the Chamber of Deputies. The inquiry was conducted by the President himself. Stay a moment. Were you present at this inquiry? Not so, mothers. Member of the public were not admitted, but I have a report of the proceedings from my good friend Bucham. Just so proceed. So Albert is telling his mother about a case that is being run on his father, and Albert is very very particular, and Albert is telling his mother that what happened in the court today. And Albert was not present himself in the court, since the common people, the layman, is not allowed in the court. Only the journalists and very very important people are supposed to go in the courts at the time of proceedings, at the time of this case, right? So my father arrived punctually in the chamber. अच्छा, याद रखिए, in earlier times there was a chamber of deputies, right? Chamber of deputies means judges. The judges who were supposed, a committee of the judges were supposed, a panel of judges were supposed to sit, and they were supposed to decide for the particular person, right? So my father arrived punctually in the chamber at 8 o'clock. The case was put before him. He was reminded of the एनोनिमस मीन्स, आपको पता है एनोनिमस मीन्स जिसका कोई नाम ना हो, अगेंस्ट हिम विच हैड अपीयर्ड इन 2 different newspapers. These charges were that in the year 1823, when he was captain in the French army, he received bribes from the enemy and surrendered to them the fortress means qila of Yanina. And what did your father say to those allegations or accusations and charges? He denied them. Did he prove they were false? He could not do so. He had no proofs, but he spoke with such boldness and spirit that everyone believed him. Then at the last moment there came in a witness, a strange lady who had been at Yanina at the time when the fortress was given up. She brought with her proofs signed, sealed and witnessed जिन पे गवाही हो, sealed जिन पे मोहर लगी हुई हो, that my father had taken money from the Turks and betrayed his country. After the deputies had seen these proofs, not one of them was in doubt as to his guilt. My father is condemned as a traitor, and we are disgraced and ruined. So he is telling that the father arrived punctually in the chamber of deputies, and he spoke with such certainty, he was so bold and brave, he spoke with such assertion, such belief, such conviction that everyone believed him that he could not do such a wrong thing. उसने कोई रिश्वत नहीं ली होगी. He could not have taken a bribe, and he could not. Turks, there was a war between French and Turks at that time. फ्रांस के लोगों में और तुर्कियों में. So but what did he do? That he betrayed his country. He has been proved a betrayer, as a traitor, and then now he was not banished at the time. उसको जलावतन नहीं किया गया. He was not given the due punishment. Why? Because he smothered up, he covered whatever he did at that time. But now the thing has been proven, and the thing has been brought to light that he was a traitor. Did your father still deny the charge? Not at all, mother. He seemed quite overcome. He turned pale. He was terrified. He was petrified. When with one voice the deputies condemned him, he rushed from the chamber shrieking like a madman. Shrieking when you are screaming with fear, right? So he was quite overcome, he was quite overwhelmed, he was terrified, he was petrified, he was scared, he was dog scared, he was dead scared. He ran from the chamber of deputies, he ran from that place, screaming and yelling, and he could not prove now that he was not guilty. Then we are indeed ruined. Ruin means jeopardize ho jana, spoil ho jana, destroy ho jana, tabah ho jana. Then we are indeed ruined, my son. What can you do now? What can you say? What can I do? My father's disgrace is mine. I dare no longer bear the name of Morcerf. The name of Morcerf is dragged down into the mire. जो बिमायर का वर्ड यूज़ हो रहा है, dragged down into the mire, यानी किसी दलदल में घसीट दिया गया है उस नाम को. I shall change my name and leave Paris, but there is other thing that I must do first. I must seek out the man who has done this thing and punish him. I must put this sharp sword of mine through his body. So if my father is being insulted, I am being insulted too. But I'm not going to bear his name any longer, because this name is ruined, this name is spoiled. If I bear my father's name, then it means it is a destruction for my life. But I will leave Paris, I will disown this name. But first, one thing that I will do first, what I will do, I will execute my revenge on my enemy. And who is my enemy? The person who is responsible for bringing my father to light, for bringing the horrible past of my father in the eyes of people. What man is that? What has done? Who has done this thing? Whom do you mean to kill? My son? Who will you kill? The president of the republic and all the deputies? No, it's not their fault, mother. They acted according to the evidence and did no more. But there is another, a villain who is behind all this. He is the man I seek, and he is the man whom I shall punish. But who is he, my son? How should I know is the man who wrote those paragraphs for the newspaper and caused all this mischief? So he knew about my father's villainous and treacherous, despicable, detestable past, and is determined to secure his punishment. So the man who is responsible for publishing the articles, the paragraphs in the newspaper regarding my father's horrible past, horrific past, and I am going to punish him. But if your father is a villain, why punish the man who has made his villainy public? But if your father is a detestable, is a ridiculous character, then why don't you want him to be punished? And why do you want to punish the man who knows about your father's draconian past? Why? Indeed, it is no longer a matter of right or wrong. So it's not about the question of morality, moral or immoral, right or wrong. It is truth or falsehood. It is a matter of the family honor. It is the matter of family reputation, family respect. And how will you find this man? I cannot find him myself, but I have taken the help from Beauchamp, and if Beauchamp fails, I shall ask the Count of Monte Cristo. Ah, the Count of Monte Cristo, there you have a friend indeed. Why did you not ask his help from the very first, my son? The Count is rich and powerful, he is influential. If you must avenge the family name, why not get the Count to help you? Revenge means intikam, or avenge means intikam lena. Because he was out of Paris when this affair occurred, you must remember that he and I were on holiday together in Normandy, and then I was summoned home. Summoned means किसी को call कर लिया जाए, to hear of my father's disgrace. The Count promised to follow at his leisure, but I have good hope that I shall not need his help, for if Beauchamp succeeds in his inquiries, I shall know by midnight the name of my father's persecutor, and then let him beware. परसिक्यूटर होता है कोई इंसान जब दूसरे किसी इंसान को एक अनफेयर वे में, गलत वे में ट्रीट करे. ठीक है, ऑल राइट. सो नॉर्मेंडी भी एक जगह है फ्रांस के अंदर. ठीक है. सो so Albert is telling his mother that me and the Count were in Normandy at that time, and I also told Count of Monte Cristo that why am I going to Paris in such a hurry, because my father is being labeled again. There very criminal accusations have been labeled against my father. That is why I am going to hear about his inquiry, right? And he tells Count of Monte Cristo tells him that he will also follow, but he will come whenever he finds time. The door is opened by two valets who stand aside to admit a splendidly means chandar, dressed nobleman. It is the Count of Monte Cristo. If you have been, अच्छा इसको छोड़ दें. Valet in a loud voice. The Count of Monte Cristo. The Countess rises a little flustered, थोड़ा सा nettled, थोड़ा सा confused way में. Monte Cristo comes forward, bows, kisses her hand. ये पहले ज़माने का कस्टम था, ठीक है, रिवाज था कि वो एक झुकते थे और लेडीज़ के हैंड को किस करते थे. मैडम, योर सर्वेंट, माई फर्स्ट ड्यूटी ऑन रिटर्निंग टू पेरिस फ्रॉम एनी जर्नी मस्ट ऑलवेज बी टू पे माई कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स टू द काउंटेस ऑफ मोर्सफ. सर, in my humble abode, you are ever welcome for your many kindnesses to me and to my son. I am your humble and grateful servant. And now, Albert, my young friend, but I see the cloud on your brow. You have met with misfortune since you broke off our holiday in Normandy and returned to Paris. I need hardly ask you, my dear Count, if you know the nature of that misfortune. All Paris is ringing with it. You will have heard of my father's disgrace. So it means that Count of Monte Cristo must also have heard about this terrible thing that has happened to all of them. And especially Count of